Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Code for Tech Solutions. Today in this video, we are going to cover a very interesting topic. We are going to create a full stack application with Angular 18 material, Spring Boot and MongoDB. These are some prerequisites which we are going to use. Like for the front-end development, we are going to use VS Code. For back-end development, we are going to use Spring Tool Suite. And for the front-end development, these are the technologies which we are going to use, like Angular CLI version 18.2.3, Node version v20.11.1, NPM version 10.5.0, and Material version 18.2.5. Next, like on the backend side, we are going to use these technologies like Java version 17, Spring Boot 3.2.5, and Maven we are going to use. And we are going to use MongoDB as a database, and we are going to use MongoDB Compass as a user interface for creating a database and collection on the MongoDB side. And we are going to use Postman to test our REST APIs which we have written on the backend side. So this is about all the tooling and versions which we are going to use for to create our full stack application. So the best thing is that we are going to use all the latest versions. So I will request you to please watch this from start to end. These are some points which we are going to cover in sequence. First we will see our architecture part. Next I will show you our application user interface. Like next point, we are going to create a database and collection in MongoDB side. Next, we are going to create our application using Spring Boot. In that, we will create a new Spring Boot application. We will configure MongoDB database in Spring Boot application. We will implement CRUD operations, and we will test all those CRUD operations using Postman. So this is about all the points on the backend side. On the front end side, we are going to create our front end application using Angular version 18, and it's a standalone Angular application we are going to create using command ng new. Next, like we will create our material table using Angular material library, and we are going to implement CRUD functionalities and searching like filter, sorting, pagination functionalities. We are going to implement as a part of this video, and we will test all these functionalities through UI browser end to end and verify the result in the MongoDB database side. So this is about all the points which we are going to cover in this video. So I will request you to please watch this from start to end. So this is the architecture of our system. Like we are going to create our product system, in which we are going to create our product-web Angular application on the front end side using Angular 18 version, and we are going to use Angular material and library, and we are going to create Angular material table and populate the columns and data in that, and we are going to use HTTP client to give a call to our backend APIs, and we are going to implement CRUD operations as well as searching, sorting, pagination functionality on the front end side, and we are going to use Angular material library to implement all these functionalities. So this is about the front end part. On the backend side, we are going to create our product service using Spring Boot, and in that we are going to implement all the CRUD operations using REST API, and we are going to configure our MongoDB database properties in our Spring Boot application so that we can connect with the MongoDB database. To create the database and tables on the database and collections on the MongoDB side, we are going to use MongoDB Compass user interface through which we will create all the database and collection on the MongoDB side. So this is about the overall architecture of our product system and the subsystems in that. We are going to create product web, front end application, product service, backend application, and MongoDB as a database. This is my channel name, Code for Tech Solutions. So please subscribe my channel. With the support of you all people, so I am able to create a number of videos on full stack with the combination of Spring Boot, React plus Spring Boot, and React plus Node.js, and again like Angular plus Spring Boot and Angular plus Node.js. So these are some videos I have created successfully. These are all full stack applications. So I will request you to please do visit to my channel and watch the video which you would like to watch. Like I am sure like you will find at least one full stack video which you are looking for. So this is about the introduction part. Now let us start with our actual first point. We can start with like this is our application user interface. This is the header, and here like this is the search filter. Here we can enter any text. Accordingly, the data will get filtered out. We can search for category, and we can search for brand. Fine. So this is about the search filter. If we are also going to implement the sorting functionality. Let's say this is in descending order, this is in ascending order on ID. Similar way we can sort on name, category, and brand. And we are also going to implement the action buttons like edit and delete. Next to table, we are going to implement the pagination part. Here in we can control the number of items per page like this one. And here once we click on next page, it will take us to the next page. Likewise, it will keep on showing the next page until we reach the last page. Once we are on the last page, the next page and last page options will get disabled because we do not have any further items to show. Similar way, if we click on previous page, it will take us to the previous page, and once we reach on the first page, it will disable the first page and previous page option because we do not have any previous page to show. Fine. So this is about all the uh, functionality like searching, sorting, pagination we are going to implement in this video. Apart from that, we are also going to implement CRUD operations. Now to get the data, we are going to use the get method and render the data. Next, it will allow to add a new product. Here we can enter any new product, like let's say we can use MacBook 12, and here it's a laptop category, and brand we can say it's an Apple, and we can submit. Yes, we can see the new entry is added successfully into the table. Now similar way, if you want to edit any entry, let's say this is the Sony XR. If you want to edit this and make it like new Sony V1, television, and it's a brand Sony itself. If we this is of like ninth record, we are going to update. Yes, we can see it has updated successfully the ninth ID, and with the help of this edit button. Similar way, if you want to delete any record, we can simply click on delete button, and once we click on OK, the record will get deleted from the table. So this is about all the CRUD operations we are going to achieve in this video from start to end. Fine. So without any further ado, so let us jump into the coding part now. So this is our workspace. We can copy. And before we create our backend application, first we need to create a database and collection on the MongoDB side. So let us do that. Now this is the MongoDB Compass user interface we can use. If you have not installed, you can install it. This is the option, and this is the interface once you open it. Now here we can create a new database. You can click on this plus button, and here we can create like product underscore master, and here collection name we can give as an products, and click on create database. So what it has created a database with name product underscore master and with collection name products. So we have created a database and collection on the backend side, on the database MongoDB side. Now let us open let us create the backend application first. Let me close this. So this is our workspace. Now let us open one new folder, and here fine. We can create a new Spring Boot application with this option. Here we can name our application like it's a product hyphen service. We can choose Maven as a build type, packaging as a star, and version as Java 17. And here we can mention it's a com.product. Artifact we can keep as is, and here we can mention it's a product service, and details as a description. And for packaging we can name it as is like com.product. We can click on next. Here we need to add the dependency, like we need Spring Web, we need MongoDB, Spring Data MongoDB. Next, like Lombac we can add. Click on next, finish. Now we can see the project is created successfully. We can open the pom.xml file and we can see these are all dependency are added as expected. With this MongoDB data, Spring Data MongoDB, we can connect with the MongoDB database. Now let us build our application using command run as maven install. So it's a build success. Now let us run it using run as Spring Boot app. So you can see our application is started successfully on port 8080, which is the default port. Now let us configure our MongoDB database properties in our application.properties file. First we can change our port. We can make it like 8082. Next we can add like mongodb.uri, and here we can use MongoDB, which is a local host, and here 20717. So this port number you can check it here, like this is the port 27017 you can use. Next we can add our database name, which is product underscore master in our case. Next we can add database, and same we can repeat, product underscore master. Next we can add like port, and which is 27017, host, which is a local host, and finally we can add spring dot data dot spring dot data dot mongodb dot auto index creation as a true. Now we are done with our configuration part. Now we have configured with this, like we have configured MongoDB database on the Spring Boot side. Now let us create our packages first. First we can create document. We are creating, we do not need to create the entity package because it's not a relational database and it does not follow any SQL structure like in relational database like columns and all. Rather, it will treat everything in the as an document and collection. So we are going to use a document instead of entity because it's a MongoDB database which is a NoSQL and the non-relational database. Next, we can create our repository part. Next, we can create our service, and finally we can create our controller. So we are done with our package creation. Now let us add the respective component. We can add our first product document, and here we can annotate it using document, and here inside this we can add the respective collection name, which is in our case it's products. Now let us add the properties, like first we can add id, next we can add name, next we can add category, and finally we can add it's a brand. Fine, we have added all these. Now here all these properties we can annotate the id with id annotation, and we can save it. So we are done with our document creation. Next thing, like we can create one repository interface. We can name it like it's a product repository and we can annotate with repository stereotype, which should extend Mongo repository, and here we can mention our product and id as an string, and we can save it. So we are done with our repository creation. Next thing, like we can create our service interface. We can save it first. So this is our service package. We can first create one interface with name like product service, inside which we can add all the methods which we are going to use. Like first is the get all products or fetch all products, and here it should return all the products available in the database. Next we can create like find by id, and here this is the this is the string id. We can use fetch by id. Next thing, like we can use one create product method, and here we can add the input product which need to be inserted into the database. So this is about create product. Similar way we can add one update product, and this is the modified product which need to be updated into the database. Finally we can add one delete method which is returning string, and we can name it like delete product. And for deleting the product, just id is enough, so we can pass it and we can save it. No, actually we can use the actual product. Okay, fine, seems good. Now let us create one implementer class. Now we have defined all the interface methods. Now first we can implement our get mapping, get fetch all products or get all products, uh, get all products method. So let us do that. Now here we can create one implementer class with name product service impl, and we can annotate it using service annotation, and it should implement product service. We need to add the respective method and implementation part. Now these are the default implementation. Now here we need to annotate our repository, which is product repository, and we can use it like this one. Now for first get mapping, like get all fetch all products, we can call the respective method on this repository, which is find all. You can save it. Now this is about the fetch all products. Now same method, it is showing there, we need to save it. Seems good. Now we need to create one controller method for this fetch all products. Now let us do that. Let us create one controller class with name product controller. We can annotate it using REST controller, and here and inject our service. So this product service we are going to use in our controller. Now let us implement first get mapping, and here we can mention the path. So here we can use some best practice, like this is the API start with, this is the versioning v1, and here we can mention our endpoint, which is products. Fine, as this is the get all products, it should return list of product, and the method name should be like we have fetch all products, and no need to pass any input. And here we can call the respective method on this service as an fetch all products. Can add import for this list and products. Fine. Now here we can add a response entity and wrap the return type into it. You can call OK method on this. And save it. So we are done with our get all products or fetch all products. Now this is the get mapping. Similar way we can create one more. So let us first implement fetch by ID first on the service level. Here we can call, this is like return, we can call fetch find by ID. You can pass this ID. We should it is returning optional, so we can use call the get method, so that we will get the exact object, product object. Fine. So this is about fetch by ID or find by ID we are going to use in our controller. Now here we can use this create the product. So this is the post mapping implementation, and for that we need to implement create product method, and we can call the respective method, which is the save, and here we can pass the input product which need to be saved or inserted into the database. Okay, fine. So this is about service implementation. Now let us create our post mapping for this one. Like, and here let us copy this first, and we can modify. Here instead of get mapping we can use post mapping. Endpoint is as is. Now here it should return the particular product which has inserted into the database. We can use create product method, and here we need to pass the request body, and here we can, this is the product as an input, and here this product we need to save, and we can call the create product method on the service and pass this input object. So with this our product post mapping we are done with, and this should create a new product into the database MongoDB side. So this is about post mapping. Similar way we can create our put mapping, and here we can use update product, and here we can call pass the ID along with the modified product. So here we can use like path variable, and here we can pass the ID which is of type string ID. So we need to complete this bracket at here, and this is the string ID. Fine. And here we need to create one update method inside our service. So this is the implementation. Now here we can copy this, and we can add it here. We can save it. Now let us go back to the controller, and here we can call update product. You can save it. Here we need to add import for put mapping. That's it. Now here what we can do, first of all we can get the object from the database, like this is the product object, and we can call this like this is our service, and we can call fetch by ID method and pass this ID so that it will retrieve the particular object from the database. And we can check if this prod object is not equal to null. In that case it should set the values like okay. So here we need to add all the things, like we need to add all our constructors, no our constructors, data, and it's the builder. We can save it. Now here we can call the set method on this, like set brand. We can set the value from this modified object, which is a product dot get brand. Similar way we can set for name and we can call, we can get name, and this is for set category, and this is the get category. Now finally we need to pass this object to be updated into the database. This is the modified object. What we have done, we have retrieved one object for this ID from the database. Next we have set the values to this object from this modified object, and finally we have passed this modified object to the this method so that it will get updated into the database. So we are done with our put mapping or update method, update product. Now let us create one delete mapping as well so that we can complete our CRUD functionalities. Here we can use like it's a delete mapping, and for this we need ID as well, and the return type should be string, and here we can mention it's a delete product. We need to just pass the ID, no need to pass the body, and here we can check if it is, we can retrieve the product from the database for this ID, and we can call the method on our product service, like so the delete product method, and here we can pass this object which need to be deleted. Now this delete method is returning as a string, so we need to prepare some string, like let's say delete message, and here we can hold the message to this, and finally we can return, we can add this message at here, we can call the delete method on this delete product. Sorry, here we are returning the actual object, so here we can simply pass this delete message from here. So what we have done, we have retrieved the particular object for product from the database against this ID, and we have deleted this product object from the database, and it will return some success message, and that message we are returning. We need to add import for this delete mapping. That's it, we can save it. Now let us check in our service implementation. Here we have not added the delete part, so we need to do that. Here like this is returning the void repository delete method, and here we need to return some success message like product is deleted successfully for ID, and here we can mention the ID like product.get ID. So this success message post deletion we are going to capture it here, and this message we are going to return. That's it. So we are done with all the CRUD operations. Now we need to add cross origin as well, because we are going to get call from our client application, Angular application. So here we can add this max h like this one, and we can save it. Now with this we are done with our CRUD functionalities. Now let us check, we can rebuild it again. Now the build is success. Now let us run it using command run as Spring Boot app. We can see our application is running fine on port 8082. Now let us test our REST APIs using Postman. So this is the endpoint URL. You can copy. Same is it here. Now for the port name we are using 8082. We can select body and JSON. Here we can choose the get method. This is the URL. This is the port, and we need to append this API v1 because we have mentioned it here for all this. Fine. Now we can click on send. It is showing returning the empty list, which is as expected because we do not have any data as of now into the collection or document. We have not created it. Now let us create one document using post, and we can copy the URL, and this is the post body JSON. Now let me add a record, insert one record. This should be category. So we can see one object is created successfully into the database. Now let us cross check into the database side. The object is created, but if you observe, like this is the ID, right, which is like this one, and which is of kind of string. So we don't need this like this one ID because we want it to be in the form of 1 2 3 4. It should get auto incremented by 1 every time we insert the product into the database. So for that we need to implement some logic at here, so that it should increment the ID by 1. So here we can start adding that. So first of all we can create one sequence which we can make it like transient, and here we can use public static final. Can mention the sequence name as end product sequence. You can add import for this. You make sure you are using Spring framework data annotation transient. Fine. So this is the appropriate import for the transient. So what we have done, we have added the transient. This is the sequence. We have made it transient because we don't want to insert or add this entry into the database. Next thing, like we need to create one class itself, and here we can name it like product sequence. We need to create. Next thing what we can, so here what we have done, we have created one product sequence, and this is the IDN sequence, and we are going to use to create the sequence. For creating the new sequence, we need to use this. Now let us create one service class with name like sequence generator service, and we can annotate using service stereotype, and inside this we can use with Mongo operations, and we can save it. Now here we can create one constructor attowire, and we can copy this and add it at here. You can use this dot Mongo operations, you can save it. Next thing, like we can create one method, public method, which will return some long, and this is the generate sequence, and here we are going to pass the sequence name, and here we can use like our product sequence, and we can give the variable as a counter, and we can call this Mongo operations dot find and modify, and here we can pass like first is a query, inside that we can pass where, inside this we can pass like our actual ID which we want to be incremented by 1, so we can use is, and here we can pass sequence name which we have in passed as an input. This sequence name we can pass, and after this like we can give comma. Just remove this first, and this is the bracket complete. Okay, now here after this we can use new update, and this is the new update. We can call increment method on this one, and what it should increment like sequence by 1. Here after this we can call, so here we should have completed this bracket. Fine, so we have completed this is the query, and inside this bracket we have completed it here. Now this is the where clause completion, this is the first attribute, this is the second parameter, and we have incremented by 1, and next parameter we can use like this is options dot, we can call, so this is like options, and here we can call. Now first we need to import this option so that we can call the, okay, So let us first import this, like import static out dot spring framework dot data dot mongodb dot we can use core dot find and modify options dot options. So this is about options. Now let us add import for query as well. Dot we can use core query dot query, and next we can use query dot criteria dot it's a where. Fine. So we have imported this query where and options we are going to use. Now for this we can add the update as well, and this is the third parameter options. Here now we can call the method on this one, like here we are going to call return new, which is a true, and we can call observed, which is again true. Now after this we can pass our actual product sequence class. So this is the class we need to pass. Now okay, finally it here you can say it's a return objects dot is null, and here we can pass our counter variable, and we can call, so here we can return the counter dot get sequence we can call, or if it is a null object, that means first time we need to return the counter as a 1. That's it. Now okay, so we need to complete it here. That's it. So I will explain you what I have done it here. So let us complete the other classes as well, and next I will tell you. Here we can create one more class like with name product listener, and we can annotate it using component annotation, and here we should extends abstract MongoDB Mongo event listener, and here we can mention our product listener for product. Now here we need to add one constructor for this one, and before and first we need to define one variable like for sequence like sequence generator service, which we have created the class. This class we have already created. Now we can use it here for the sequence creation. Now we can pass this This is the final, and here we need to initialize it, like we can pass it to here, complete it, we can save it. So this is the generator, sequence generator service. We have added it here and initialized it. Now we can call one, there is one before, there is one method like before convert event. So the method name should be on before convert. Yes. Now here we can pass like if our event dot get source dot get id is less than 1. In that case we can say it's an event dot get source dot set id we can call, and we need to set id as an our sequence generator service dot generate sequence we can call, and inside this we can give our sequence name like product dot sequence name. Event dot get source okay. So basically this id set id is a string, is not applicable for the argument long. Okay, fine. So basically if we go back at here, we have created this id as a string first time. So here we need to create as a long, and accordingly we need to make the changes in our repository, and here we need to use long. Next in our service we can check if it is, this is fetch by id, it should be long. Similar way we need to add it here, this should be long. Fine, we can save it, and inside controller as well it should be long, and same it here, and we can save it. Now we are done with that part. Now here we can go back to our product listener. Now it seems good. With this we are done with our auto increment logic for our MongoDB. What all things we have done inside document product, we have made this id as a long because we want to increment by 1 every time we insert the product into the database. And first we have created this transient sequence with name product sequence. We have created it, made it transient because we don't want to the value of the sequence to be saved into the database. That's why we made it transient. Next thing what we have done, we have created one product sequence inside our repository part. Okay, so this product sequence we should create at the document level. So let me add it at here. Fine. So next thing, like we have created this product sequence with attributes properties like string as id and sequence as a long, and this sequence will get used to auto increment by 1. Now we have created this product sequence document, and this is the sequence name collection we have created. Fine. Next thing, we have created one service sequence generator service. Inside that we have used Mongo operations and using the Mongo operations we are calling this method to generate one sequence. Like, let me format this. Okay, so this is the Mongo operations and find and modify, and we are passing the first parameter wherein we are mentioning on id we want to use the sequence, this input sequence we want to pass, and this is the update. And here we are using the auto increment, like auto increment by 1 for the sequence. And here this is like return new every time we insert the object into the database, product into the database, and this is the product sequence class we are passing as a last parameter, and here we are returning the counter. So this is about product generated sequence. And finally we have created our product listener, so this will keep on listening whenever we insert a new product into the database and call this method. Okay, so this is basically generate sequence method. It will generate a sequence, and this method generate a sequence we are calling on this sequence generator service. Fine. Now let us build our application and check how it goes or work. Let me save everything, what all changes we have made. Fine. Now let me rebuild our application first. Now our build is success. Now let us run it using command Spring Boot app. Fine, our application is running fine. So let us do one thing first. We need to remove this existing document from the database. Let us check we have removed everything. Now let us rerun our application, so that if it requires to create any sequence or kind, it will create. Now, okay, fine. Now here, now we can check by calling the get method. It is showing the empty array. Now let us add this record by using post method. Now we can see this is creating id with 1. Now similar way, let us check by adding one more entry. We can add a couple of entries and check how it works. This is the second entry we can add. Okay, so category is coming as a null because we have passed the type. It should be category. Okay, fine. So it is id is incremented by 1 every time we insert a new object, new product into the database. So our logic is working fine. So we can make it as a category. This should be category. Fine. This is the third object we are adding, and it is you can check the id. It is incremented by 1. That means our logic is perfectly working fine. And this is the fourth object we can add. Seems good. Our auto increment is working fine as expected. Now let us test our put mapping. This is our put mapping, and here now we need to check into the database as well whether it has created the documents into the database. We can see this is the id 1 2 3 4. We have added 4 records by now. Now here we can copy this url, and we are trying to update one record. This is the get mapping method. Now we can, so let us update this second, and this is the null category we can update to the actual object. And here we need to pass the id as well along with the updated modified object. Here we can modify category. Instead of null we can say it's a laptop, and here we need to add it into double quotes. Fine. Now let us check. Yes, we can see it has updated the category to the laptop, which was null earlier. Now if you want to cross check the get mapping, you can see it is appearing as expected. Now let us add one more entry for put mapping. This is for fourth id. This is the fourth. Here we can add 11 append and laptop as is, and here we can say Microsoft. Okay, so it is, make it 111 and let us check. Seems good. We can cross check into the database as well. Fine. Now our put mapping or update API is working fine. Finally we can test our delete mapping. We can use this method, and to delete our object we just need to pass the id, which is fine. And we can see this is the delete message is appearing as expected. Now if we call the get method, it is showing the 3 items only because fourth item we have just deleted. If we check into the database, this last atom, it should not show. Seems good. All our CRUD operations are working fine as expected. Now let us focus on our UI part. We are done with our backend Spring Boot creation and implementation of CRUD functionalities, and we have tested it using Postman. Now let us focus on front-end application, creating the front-end application part. Now here, this is our workspace. Now we can open one VS Code instance. We can open one new terminal, and here we can create our new Angular application using command ng new, and we can name our application like product hyphen web. So this command will create a new Angular application. We need to select CSS, and server side rendering we can say no, and it has started installing the packages. We will wait till it installs. So till the time it installs, let me show you what all versions we are going to use. So this is the Angular version, Angular CLI version, which is 18.2.5, Node version 20.11.1, and let me show you NPM version as well, which is 10.5.0. So these are all latest version we are using to create this application. Now it has created our Angular application. It's a standalone application because we are using Angular 18, and the standalone application will get created by default when you are using the Angular 18. Fine. Here we can first go to our project folder, which is product-web, and we can run our application using command ng -o. It will launch our application into the browser. We can type y. We can see our application is running fine. Now let me open it, and these are the Angular libraries we have installed, and this is our browser. Fine. So our application is running fine. So let us open new terminal it here, and first we need to go to our project folder, and here now here first we need to install the dependency. Like we can see we have not added any Angular material dependency. So let us do that. So before we do that, add the Angular material dependency, we can check our Angular application is running on port 4200, whereas our backend application is running on port 8082. So these are all different port we need to communicate between. So what we can do, like we need to configure the proxy on our Angular application side. So we can do, like we can create one file with name proxy.config.json, inside which we can create, like this is the API. For the API we can add the target URL, and the URL we can copy from here. Next we can add secure as a false, and if you have some other port host than the local host, you can use like change origin, and here we can add that your other host. But right now we are using localhost, so we are not adding that option. Fine, we can save it. Now we need to use this proxy config. We need to mention it somewhere in serve option. So every time we execute the serve or run the application, it should use this proxy. This is the proxy config, and here we can mention it is inside src, and our file name is proxy.config.json. Fine. So we have created this proxy so that it will redirect our Angular request to this our backend URL. Now we are done with our proxy configuration. Now next thing what we can do, we need to install our Angular material. We can check, like we have not installed Angular material as of now. So let us do that. We can use command ng add @angular/material. This command will add Angular material to our application. We can use y. So for now we can go with the default theme. So this is like we can go with default theme, and for typography you can say y, and include and enable animations, yes. Now we can see our Angular material is installed or added successfully to our project. Now let us use, so we are done with Angular addition or installation of the Angular material library. Now let us do one thing. Let us create the component first. So first we need to create component using command ng generate a module, and this is the product. We can create one product module first, and we can see this is created successfully. Next thing, like we can create one service inside this product module, and we can name our service product itself. Sorry, so the service name, there is a spelling mistake. We can delete it and we can create it again, like okay. So here we can make it product only. Okay, so we are creating product service inside product module. Fine, it has created product service. Now it seems good. Now let us create the component using command ng generate component, and inside product module, and we can first component we can name like it's a home, and we can use standalone option to create the home component. Fine. So we have created the home component successfully, and it has its own CSS, HTML, test file, and TS file. So this is about home component we have created. Fine. Next thing, finally we can create one interface which we can create inside this product module, and we can name it like product interface. Now this is the interface, and inside this we can add the attributes. What all attributes we are going to use? This is the ID as a number, name as a string, and category as a string, and finally brand we are going to use as a string. That's it, we can save it. So we are done with our product product component creation for this application. Now, so what we have done, we have first created this product module. Inside that we have created one product service. Next we have created the component home, and home component on which we are going to show our table data as well as action buttons, edit and delete, and we are going to apply our searching sorting pagination on this. Apart from that, we are also going to means everything we are going to show on this our home page, including header and all. Fine. Now finally we have created this service interface. Okay, so fine. Now let me show you, as we are going to use Angular 18 standalone application. So this is the entry point for our application main.ts, and from here our application will get bootstrapped, and this is the app config wherein we need to mention all the providers which we are going to use now, and it will through app.component.ts it will render our app.component.html. Fine. Now we are done with this much like our component creation. Now let us focus on our routing part. Now let us add some routing it here so that it should redirect to the home component. And we can use home component. So this is about path and the component to generate. So if we have this path in URL, then this component we need to generate. If we have only products, again we are going to redirect to the home page, and if it has empty path, again we need to redirect to the home page. So anyhow we are going to redirect to the home page at first for these URLs. Like fine, so we have added our route successfully. Now let us check. So here next thing what we need to do, like here for this HTML app.component HTML we can remove, and here we need to add router outlet so that our route should work. Fine. Now let us check. We need to save everything. Now we can see it is routing to our home page which is home.html. Now let us check it here, and this is the content. That means our router is working fine. So we are done with our routing logic. Now let us focus on our home page. Now we are going to create, let us design our home page first. This is the container div, and now this is the container div. Here we can add some style, and here we can mention some width, like let's say 778 pixel. Next we can add margin top, let's say 20 pixel, margin left 30 pixel, and we can save it. So this is like width we have defined. Now first we can add one header. This is the h3, and here we can make this strong header, and we can say it's a full stack with Angular 18 material, Spring Boot, and MongoDB, and we can save it. Fine. Here we can add some style as in color, and we can align like text align as a center. Seems good. Fine. Now this header we have created. Now after this, like we can create like one search filter. Okay. Okay. So after this, we want to create the form fields, like not for search filter. First we can create so here we need to use a mat form field. Let us add one line break, and here we can use mat form field. Now to use this, first we need to add mat form field module. Now here we can add import for this one, and this is from Angular material and form field. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. E should be there. Fine. Now we can use this form field, inside which we are again going to use what next, like mat input module we are going to use. Can add input, and this is of type mat input, and we can add placeholder like enter name it here, and after this we can add one mat icon, and like first we can add import for mat icon as well, and save it. Now for this mat icon we can add font icon, and for name we can add person, and we can add it as an mat suffix, and we can save it. Seems good. Now this is about the first mat form field. Now we can add some style, and we can mention some width as an 175 pixel, and we can save it. Seems good. Mat form field input module and mat icon we have imported and used. So let us rerun our application so that it will look good. Seems good. Now if we check, it is showing. Seems good. Now similar way we need to create two more form fields, one for enter category. You can check the appropriate icon for the category if or you can choose the custom icon, whatever, but right now I am keeping as is. And same for the brand. If the font is existed, it will show, otherwise it will show the blank for that one. Okay, fine. So the for category there is a font, so it is showing. Now here for these two we can add the margin left as in 15 pixel, and same we can add for this one as well. Fine, seems good. Next thing, like we can add one button, and for this, like to use the buttons we need to import it and use mat button module, can save it. And here we can use different button options, like we can use mat flat button. Here you can use mat raised button, mat stroked button, or there are various button related options. You can choose anything. Like here we can use, like this is the submit button. We can add some style, margin left like 25 pixel. Now this is the submit button, it is showing. Similar way we can add one cancel button, and for the cancel button we can add color as a one. Can save it. Here we can make margin left as a 10 pixel, sorry 25 it here and 10 pixel it here. Seems good, it is showing as expected. Now let us create one more form field, and this is so not form field but rather here let us add one line break, and here we need to add search filter. And from that, for that again we can copy one form field and add it here, and here we can say search product as an placeholder. This is the mat input, and we do not need to add the icon, or we can add search. Let us check how it looks. Seems good. Now here we can remove this margin left, and width again we can remove the style altogether. We can check. Seems good. Fine. So this is the search filter. Now to be in sync, let us do one thing. We can add some width so that it will look similar to this one, or we can make it like, let's say 2 to 5 pixel. Fine. Fine. Now here next thing what we can do, so we have added this one. Now next thing, we can add our table next to this. Now let us do that. Here we can add one line break, and here we can, let us go to our Google and search for Angular material table, and here we can copy some table related content. We can copy as is, and we can edit it here. can save it. Now it is showing error for data source. Now let us copy the data source part from here. Like this is the data source, can copy and add to our TS file, it here. Now for this data source we are going to use new mat table data source, and here this is using the product, and we can create one object. We need to add import for this one. Fine. So we have created empty data source for now. Okay, so let us do one thing here. We need to add import for our mat table as well. Mat table module, and we can save it. Now we can see it is showing the headers like number, name, weight, and symbol as expected. Now let us change these headers as we want. Like we are not going to use these headers. We want to use our headers. Like this is the ID, name as is, and here is a category, and here is our brand, and we can save it. Now it is not showing because we want to add it here as well, and this is the same what we have used in our it here displayed column. Same we need to use it here. This is the ID, and this thing will get displayed on UI, so we can make sure what things we want to show it here. Let's say it's a product ID we want to display. This is the name. Here we can use category, and here we can use like category, and this is the brand, and same brand, and we can save it. Now it is showing the headers as expected. Now let us do one more thing. Like here we can define one constant like for products, which is of type product array, and we can initialize it with product. Next thing, we can create one product object which is of type product, and we can initialize it with ID as in 0, next name as in blank, next category as in blank, finally brand as a blank. Name category should be category. Fine. So we have created our list of product variable, and this is the product variable. Now we can go back it here. Now we can use this product it here. Next this is the we are entering object on the element, so rather here we can use the product which we have declared it here. Can copy it and add it here and use the same instead of element. It is more readable. Okay, fine, we can save it. Now for now it is showing the headers. Now let us focus on our get mapping, and we are going to create one get API, and with that we are going to retrieve the data and render it on the home.html screen. So let us do that now. First we need to create one get mapping method from here. Like we can create one service variable, like it's an HTTP client which is of type HTTP client. You can save it. Now to use this HTTP client, as I told you, we need to configure what all providers we are going to use. We need to mention it here. Now we can use our provide HTTP client it here, we can mention, and we can save it. Now we can use this provider into our service. First we can use one base URL which is of type string. It's a variable, and here we can mention what is the base URL. We can copy the base URL from here, and this is our base URL. So the same base URL we have used in our controller, like this one. Now we have copied this and we can paste it here. Next thing, like we can use our method fetch all products. It is observable and it has product array, and we need to add import for this one. And here we can call this dot http client and get method, which is returning product array. And here we can use the backtick and call this dot base URL. Sorry, so to call this we can use this dot base URL. We need to return this. We can save it. So we are done with our fetch all product method. Now we need to consume this in our home.component.ts. So here we can implement one interface like after few init, and we can implement ng after few init method it here. And here we need to create one constructor wherein we can use our like product service, which is of type product service, and here use it. We need to add import for this one. Fine. Now we can use this, like we can call the product service and the method available on that fetch all products, and here we can subscribe to it, which is data callback. And here we can use this dot our products. We can assign the value which is return the data from our fetch all products. This data we are going to assign to the products. Fine. What we have done, like here is our products variable we have created, and we are calling the in ng after unit. So whenever page gets loads, that time we are calling this method like fetch all products on the service, and we are subscribing the callback data, and this data we are going to assign it to the variable. Now even if we have created this, it is not showing any data, because if we go back at here, and here we are using the data source to render the data. Now we need to pass the data to our data source variable or object. Now here we can pass the data which is written from here to our data source variable. Fine. Now you can see it is showing the data as such. Now only it is showing the name. Now let us check why it is not showing the rest of the attributes. So this is the name and this is the ID. Okay, so we need to change it accordingly, like this is for ID, this is for category, and this is for brand, and we can save it. Now we can say it is showing for all the data like product ID, name, category, and brand. Seems good. Now our get API get mapping is working fine. Now let us focus on our post mapping. not on post mapping. Let us filter apply the filter to our the data. Now first we need to add some record, like to apply the filter, sorting and pagination. We need few more records. Now let us check how many records we have added. We have these 3 records as of now, only 3 records. Okay, so let us add few more records. We can copy some records from here. I have, let us use our post mapping to add the records. So this is the 5th record. This is for 6th. Similar way we can add few more. Fine, so we have created some records. Okay, so here everywhere it is showing the category as a null. Okay, fine, let us check how many records it has added. So category is showing null because we have inputted as a type, so rather it should be. Okay, so let us do that. Here we need to call okay, so this is the 4th record, sorry, 5th, 6th, 7, 8, 9, 10. After 5th, so this is the get mapping we can call. After 5th we need to change the category. Now we can use the put mapping here. So actually it is a mistake, we should pass the category, not type. Fine, we can do one more thing, like here we can pass it category as a laptop. We cannot so we can modify for just for few records, not for all. So this is for fine. Now it is, let us check here, it has added. Now instead of updating all this, so we can update it whenever we implement our put mapping it here and we add the edit, that time we can update it. Now fine, it seems good, it has added at least some records. We can add the sort on, or let us do one thing, we can add so that it will look good, because we want to apply the sorting on category as a, this is the TV and here is the 7 record. Here we are just adding few more records so that we can apply our searching, sorting, pagination part. Now here category we can mention as a laptop. Here we need to pass the ID accordingly so that it will update. Seems good. Next thing, like here we can add category as an, it's a laptop, and here ID we need to pass 9. Fine, so we can add 2 more records update and it will, this is like TV and this is the 10th record we have updated. Next, this is Samsung and TV, and here ID is 11. Fine, seems good. Now we have updated category for all. Now here 6th and 7th, only 6th is missing. Now let us check for the 6th. Now this is our get mapping. 6th is it here, can copy. This is our put, and here iPhone, or can use smartphone as a category, and this is the ID 6th. Seems good. Now we can see it is working fine. Now we have added enough records. Now we can apply our, first we can implement our filter and apply it on the data. Now let us go back to our code, and here this is our input. So this is our input, right? So search product. Now here we can add one filter, and here we can add one input method. On once we enter the text, it should call some method like can add filter or search products, and here we can mention filter dot value, and we need to add method for this one into our ts file, and here is the input which is of type string, and here we can, so to filter the product we need to define one variable to hold the filter the products, and here left hand side we can use this variable, and we can actually filter the original list of products, which is a products dot, we can use filter, and here we can use atom, and atom dot name dot to lowercase we can use. On this we can add includes, and we can use includes, and here we can use input dot to lowercase. So this is for name. We can copy this much. So this is for name. Similar way we can add for category and brand. So this is for category and this is for brand. That's it. We can save it. And finally, because we need to show the filtered list, what we can do, after this we need to add this filtered list to our data source so that it will get shown on the UI. That's it. We can save it. Now let us check how it works. You can enter. So this is for pixel. Let us say laptop. Seems good. For smartphone and for television, fine. And for brand like Apple and Google, okay. So everything is working fine. Our searching functionality or sort or filter is working fine. So let us implement. So we are done with our filter and searching functionality. Now let us implement our sorting part. So to implement our sorting, so let us go back to our table right here, and let us check. So here we have implemented the sorting. So here This is the mat sort we need to use first. We need to add to a table level. So we can add mat sort. Next, what we need to do, we need to add mat sort header to our for all the columns. Like this is the header for ID, sort for ID, name, category, and this is the brand. We can save it. What next we need to do, we need to add this variable in our TS file. We can add import for this one, and we can save it. What next, we can add this line as well, because we want our sort to be applied to our data source. Fine. Now one more thing we need to do, we need to use add this module as well, because we are going to use mat sort module. Fine. Now we are done with our sort. Now let us check if it is working. So this is the product ID, it's in descending and ascending. This is the name, ascending and descending. This is the category, ascending and descending. This is for brand. Okay, our sorting is working fine. So what all things we have done, like we have added, so we can go back to our HTML. It here at table level we have added this sort, and for column level we have added this mat sort header for ID, name, category and brand. And finally inside TS file we have used this variable for mat sort, and we have added initialized this sort. We have applied this sort to our data source, and we have imported this mat sort module. That's it. So we are done with our sort functionality. Now let us add the pagination part. Let us go back to our table, and here we can search for the pagination sorting, and this is the pagination. Now here we can see this is the mat paginator. Once our table is completed, so we can go to it this HTML file, and where our table ends. After this we can add this. Now what next we can do, like we can go to TS file, and we need to add this variable to our TS file. We can add import for this one, and we can use any for now. And what next we need to do, we need to add this paginator to our view init, so that it will be applicable to our data source. Fine. Next thing, like we need to add import for our mat paginator module, and we can save it. Now we can see it is pagination is applied to our data, and we can control the number of records from here per page. And once we click on next page, it will show the next 5 items, and once we reach on last page, it will disable the next and next page and last page button as expected. Once we click on previous button, it will show the previous 5 records. Likewise, it will keep on showing the previous page until we reach the first page. So this is about the pagination we have implemented as expected. So if you want to change the number of items here, so you can change it from here. Like these are 3, 10, 20. You can make it 3, 6, 9, or likewise you can take any number which you want. Fine. Or we can change it to, let's say, 4. we can use 8 and 12. Let us check how it goes. Seems good. Now it is showing. Next 4, fine. Now it is our pagination is working as expected. Now let us apply some CSS to this. Some small CSS we can add. Let me copy some CSS and we can add to our style.css it here, and we can save it. Now you can see our CSS is applied to the table. Now it seems good. So what we have done for CSS, like this is the header mat MDC header row, and we have applied this color to header, and for each row width we have mentioned, and here we have applied the color for even rows, like these are the even rows color we have applied to. Fine, seems good. Now let us with this we are done with our filter, sorting and pagination, sorting pagination part we have completed. Now let us focus on our CRUD operations. Now to submit the data, like let us say here, once we enter something at here and click on submit, it should add the data into the database. That functionality we can focus on. Okay, now here we need to check where is our submit button, and this is the submit button. Here we can add, so on click of this you can say add or edit product, and here we can pass the data. For data we are using product. Fine, you can save it. Now we need to define the method at here inside. So before this, to use this method, here inside it has product. Let's say it's prod, which is of type product. So from here we are going to call the service method, and we are going to use call the create method or update method on the service. First we need to create one method at the service level. Let us create the post mapping first, and here we can say it's a create product, and here we can call the respective method on this one, and here we need to pass the data which need to be inserted into the database, which is of type product, and here the return type is product, and here we are passing the data as well. So we are done with our create product. Now let us check into our home.ts file. So this is add or edit. Now here we can call our product service, and here we can call. So here first of all this method is going to be used for add or edit. So we can say if product.id is not equal to 0, it should go for update, or else it should go for, if it is 0, in that case we are going to create the new product into the database, and we can call the create product method, and we can pass this product, and we can call the subscribe method it here, and we can say next, and here is the data, and we can log like product created successfully, and we can save it. So this is about next. So in case of error we are going to log the error as well, and this is the error. fine. Sorry, this bracket we need to use. Fine. So this is for creating the product into the database. We are done with. Now let us check how it works. Let us add one product. Let us check, like we can use, now here we can use this XPS. Let us make it 21. Category we can say it's a laptop, and for brand we can say it's a Dell. Let us submit. So it has not added. Okay, fine. Now let us go back at here, and this is the name. Now this is the input, and here we can use like ng model, and here we need to map our product dot name, and to use this we need to add the import for the same, like we need to use common module as well as form module. We can save it. Now here, so this is for name. Similar way we can use for category, and the next for brand. Fine, we can save it. Now let us cross check. Now let us cross check it once again. So let us add one more product, like let's say, so we can add LG 71, which is of type TV, and brand it's an LG. Now it has added successfully. Post we refresh our page. So if we don't want to refresh the page after addition, so what we can do, we can add one line at here, like window dot location dot reload. We can call this, so that we do not need to refresh our page once we enter anything. Now, sorry, so it has added one more empty record because we have submitted. Okay, so let us add one more, like LG 11, and it's a TV, brand we can say it's an LG. Now we can see without refreshing the page it has added the brand. That means our submit or post mapping is working fine as expected. Now let us focus on our edit functionality, update product. For that, first we need to add action buttons like edit and delete to our page. So let us do that. So this is our table, and this is our last entry. First of all, we need to go to this our TS file. Here we need to add two more columns. One is for edit and next is for delete, and we can save it. Next we can copy this last column, and here we can say it's for edit, and here we can name it like edit. And here we can add one button, and this is of matte flat button, and we can name it like edit. You can save it. Now for this, like we can add some style and width. For height we can mention 27 pixel, and width we can add as an auto. That's it. We can save it. Now similar way we can add one more button. Next we can add for delete, and this is the delete. and we can name it like delete. And for delete button we can add one color like fawn. We can save it. Now let us check how it looks. Seems good. It is showing as expected. Now once we click on edit button, it should populate the record into the this input boxes. Now let us add that functionality. So here on click of edit, this is the edit button, and we can add click and set product. Here we can pass the product itself. Here we can call this set product, and this is the prod which is of type product, or we can say product. And here we can use this dot product dot name, and we is equal to, we can use product dot name. Similar way we need to set id. This is for id. This is for category. This is for brand. Okay, fine. So we can save it. Now let us check how it works. We can save it. Now we can edit. Seems good. It is populating as expected. This is for Pixel Pro. Fine. Now once we modify it here, let's say this is if a, this is the third product ID and it's an A95L. If we modify it, let us modify to W instead of television. We can say it's an simple TV and it's Sony brand. We can submit. It's a third record we are trying to update. Now we have not added the update code, so let us do that. So this is the home.ts. Now home.component, whenever we click on update, this is the set product, and on click of submit we are calling the this add or edit product. So this method we are going to use for add and edit as well. So we can copy this code, and here we can use update product, but we need to create the update product in service first. This is for post mapping create product, and we need to create one update method. And for update method, like we are using put mapping, and here we need to pass the data as well, ID as well along with the data, and we need to pass this modified data to be updated into the table. That's it. Now let us check how it works. We need to update the service as well as home.ts file where we have added this entry. Now for update method, we need to change this product updated successfully. Fine. Now let us check how it works. This is okay, fine. So we can take some new, like this is the iPhone 15 we can take, or else we can take MacBook. Okay, fine. We can modify it 11, laptop second, Apple second. You can submit. Now you can see it is updated as expected. With this, our update product or put mapping is working fine. Now let us implement our delete functionality. So for delete functionality, first we can add one delete method in our service. This is the delete product, and we can call delete, and for deleting we just need to pass the id, which is of number type. Here we can pass this, so this is, okay, it is returning. Here we just need to pass the id, no need to pass the data. Passing id is enough, fine. So this is the delete API we need to call whenever we click on delete. So this is the delete button, and here we can call delete product, and we can pass this id, product.id, which is enough. Now here we can create one method for delete. We can pass id, is of type number, and for delete first we can define one constant like is confirmed. We can call window dot confirm method, and here we can use are you sure you want to delete, and if you can say is confirmed, if we click on OK button, then we want to delete this. Now we can call our product service, and on that we can call the delete product method, and here we can pass this id, and we can call subscribe here, and for this like so this is the subscribe, and here we can say for callback data we can retrieve. Now here our this dot product list is going to be changed, and we can filter on the original products dot, like let's say it's a filter, and item dot id. If this id is not equal to given id, that means we have removed that id, and we have this new list, product list, by deleting this id. Now after this we can call window dot location dot reload, so that we do not need to refresh the page, and we can save it, fine. Now let us check if the delete is working as expected, fine. Now here we can remove this third record ag95. Once we click on OK, now we can see third record is deleted successfully from the table. Similar way, if we want to delete this fifth record, we can click on this delete, which is a surface pro, fine, fifth is deleting as well. That means our delete is working fine. We can cross check into the table as well, seems good. We can see all these records are there which we have added, fine, seems good. With this we are done with all our CRUD operations as well as searching, sorting, pagination part. I will request you to please like and subscribe this video. I hope you must have enjoyed this video. So I will request you to please visit my channel, and there are some other full stack applications as well. You can watch that as well. So thank you so much for watching this.